So can you see this slide? I mean this doc file.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we will discuss one of the important supervised classification techniques that is called k nearest neighbor decision rule. Okay. So this is very I would say that important classifier or means supervised classification techniques. So that is called the k nearest neighbor decision rules, or simply you can say KNN. Okay, KNN classifier. So we have already seen this nearest neighbor classifier technique, or this is a minimum distance classifier that we have already seen. And this KNN is very important. Okay, and obviously you'll have one assignment on KNN on the satellite images also, that to classify the neighbor and non-neighbor class, varying with varying the value of k. Okay, so now here this k is important things that we'll discuss how to choose the value of k. So before that, you need to know that what are the procedures to be followed to apply KNN. Okay, so let you have xi comma yi. Okay, where xi's are these ith observations, or you have this ith observations. I mean, I is from 1 to 10. You have the number of observations, and wi is called the class. Okay, ith class. So this is called the ith observations, and the wi is the ith class. So where I is equal to 1 to n, so which is will be given to you, means you have the training data points will be given to you, and each points will be given to you corresponding its class level. Okay, so now this x1 is coming from the class 1. Okay, x2, I mean so on you can have, where the xi's are this m dimensional data sets. Okay, xi's are having this n dimensional data sets. So it means that the samples are, if the samples are coming from the x1, so x1 samples coming from the W1, x2 samples coming from the W2, x3 sample, and for each xi you have the m-dimensional data, where xi is an Rn for all I is equal to 1 to n. So that will be given to you, and this Wi denotes the level of xi. So level of xi means class level. So I mean x1 x1 is that for each I. So x1 is a representative for class W1, x2 is a representative for W2, so on. So now let us assume the number of classes is given. Let us assume that number of classes is C, and that will be given to you, and where C is must be greater than is equal to 2. C is greater than is equal to 2. It means that you have that is an Wi. So W1, I mean first class like 1, 2, and C for all I. It means that this is the first observations, or you can have this x1 is coming from the W1, then x2, W2, then x3, and xc, so on you can have. So now let x be a point. Okay, let x be a point for which the class level is not given to you. Okay, x is a point that this class level is not given to you. So initially you have the training sample set which has endpoints x1 to xn, and you have the C class. Class level for each point is known in the training set, and let x which needs to be classified. Okay, x be a point which needs to be classified. You means you need to find this, what is the class level of x. Okay, now procedure. Step number 1. Procedure step number 1. Let k be a positive. Okay, so this k be a positive integer. K may be 1, k may be 2, k may be 3, k may be 4. Now how do you choose k? Then I will talk to you after some day. Okay? Now k is given, for instance. K is given and k be a positive integer. Now we have to calculate we have to calculate d, that is x into xy for all equal to 1, 2, where d denotes the Euclidean distance. You have to calculate this Euclidean distance between the test sample point to all the training samples points which is given. So that's why you have to calculate this Euclidean distance between x. X is an unknown point that must be classified in one of the classes, C classes, and xi's are all the observations. Okay, so xi's observation are coming from this WL, so which is must be distributed across this your classes. So now you have to calculate the distance d, and you have mathematically you can write d x comma xi for all I is equal to 1 to n. You have this n number of observations where d denotes the Euclidean distance. After that, suppose if you have this 12 distance, if you have the 12 sample points or 12 data points, and suppose if you have the 3 classes, and so four data points are in this class 1, 5 data points are in the class 2, and 3 data points are in the class 3. Then how many distance that you are going to have? How many distance you are going to have? 12. You have the total 12 distances. Fine. So now, after calculating this Euclidean distance from the test data, you have to arrange the how many distances? N distances. So that many observations are there, so that many distances that you will have. So arrange the N distances in increasing order, or more technically you can write non-decreasing order. Non-decreasing order. Okay? Arrange N distances in non-decreasing order. Now you have to take the first k distances based on the values of k. If k is 3, now you have to take first 3 distances. Now out of the first, so that's why next step is you have to take the first 3 distances. Next, find a point corresponding to k distance. Okay, it means that so we'll have to find that how many points, I mean, that is corresponding to k distances. I mean, you have this, you have the test data point. Now in the test data points is means what are the representative of this, how many points which is really closest to this training test data points. Okay, now you'll have to find that k points, find these k points that which corresponding to the k distances. Now if you k is equal to 3, now k is equal to 1 means first class, that how many points that has been classified. Then k is equal to 2, then how many points. K is equal to 2 means if you have the second class, then how many points are there which is being closer to your test data points. Now k is equal to 3. Now it may so happen that k must be, k may be, I mean it is not necessarily true that k will be k be a positive, but k may be a 0. Okay, it means that how the value of k is 0. Now suppose you have the 12 classes, okay, and you have this n number of data points, okay, in observations. Now you are going to apply this one nearest neighbor, 1 n. So now if you apply this 1 n, it means that you'll have to take the distances from k is equal to 1. It means this point, so you'll have the only one point, one k point, which will be representative to any one of the classes, and rest of the classes this k value will be 0. Okay, rest of the classes this k value of the 0, because it may so happen that some classes will have the k values is 0. So now that's why the k maybe is some, for some classes the value of k will be 0. I mean you will not have any points which has been classified or which is very closer to the test data point. So it may so happen that. So now firstly you need to find these k points which corresponding to k distances, because you are arranging the n distances in non-decreasing order or increasing order. Okay, then you have to take the first k points, which are the k points, and these k points either belong to class 1 or in the class 2 or in the class 3. That you'll have to see how the points are being classified. Now find the k points corresponding to k distances means, so you are going to find this representative, class representative. So the k points will denote this class representative. Okay, based on your k distances. So now next step number 6 is that let ki denote the number of points. Let ki denotes the number of points belonging to the ith class. Okay, belonging to the ith class among the k points, where I is equal to k points, where I is equal to 1 to 3. Okay, and or you can write this way, that ki denotes number of points belonging to the ith class among the k points, or you can write this way, that is summation of I is equal to 1 to you have ki k. Okay, so now if you k is equal to 3, then you need to find that how many points are represent, means what are the class how many k points are considered to be class representative for class 1, how many k points are considered to be class representative for the class 2. Then if you just sum them up, then you will get the total number of points will be this number of k value. Okay, so that's why I is equal to 1 to c, k is equal to k. Now you put x Now you put X. Okay, now you put X in the ith class. Here we are doing this majority voting techniques. Here we are doing this majority voting techniques. We put in X in ith class if Ki is greater than or Kj for all j is not is equal to I. Okay. So this is the procedure for computing this k-nearest neighbor. Now you put X in the ith class where that number of class representative, if you find this number of class representative are more in one class, then you have classified that point in that particular class. Means if Ki is not is equal to j, it means this for all j is not is equal to I. Okay. Now if you have there is a different things that we need to address. If Ki is greater than is equal to Kj, then how are you going to take the decision? Okay, before that, I'll show you these things. So it will be more clear to you. Suppose this is that I am taking, this is your class 1. This is your class 1, this is your class 2, and this is class 3. Okay. So now this is K1 is equal to 1, K3 is equal to 2, and here K2 is equal to 0. And this point is a test pattern. Okay, so that is X. So can you see this? This. So this is the graphical representation of your k nearest neighbor. As you can see, so I have 3 classes: class 1, class 2, and class 3. And in the class 1, I have four data points. Okay. In the class 2, I have 4 data points, and in the class 3, I have 5 data points. So here I am having 4 data points. Here I am having the, you can have here 4 data points, and you are having 5. Okay, so now this how many observation that you are going to have? Total number of observations कितना है?
13.
N is equal to 13. Okay, and I'm choosing this. My k is equal to 3. K is given to you. It means you are going to apply 3 NN. So k is equal to 3. Now first step क्या होगा? You have to compute this equilibrium distance from the test pattern X to all the training patterns. So now how many distance that you are going to have?
3.
How many distance total?
13.
13.
Total distance will be 13.
13.
And we have
Yes.
to choose only 3.
Yes. So now first step क्या होगा आपका? You have total 13 distances from test pattern X to all the training pattern of all 3 classes. Okay. ठीक है, 13 distances from training pattern to be calculated. Now next step क्या है? What will be your next step?
Arrange the distances in non-decreasing order.
Sorting the distance.
Yes, very good. Arrange them in increasing order. Third step, take 3 smallest distance. Okay, as we can see that if you take these things, that these points in the class 1 at you are seeing here I have written k is equal to 1. Why? Because that is it may so happen that is k is equal to 3, then I have found only one representative of the class 1, okay, which is closer to this test point. Now from the class 2 I have found that two class representative from the which is closest to this test pattern. Now k3 is equal to, so that I have written k1 is equal to 1, kn is equal to 1 means only one class representative from class 1, 2 class representative from class 2, but 0 class representative from class 3, because as you can see, so these pattern are far apart from all the training data points. As we are already having k is equal to 3, then we have met the condition. So that's why here k2 is equal to 0, because we didn't find any class representative. So that's why the k is a positive integer, and k sometimes k will be 0. Okay, but k cannot be negative. Okay, so now this is the things that and now if I apply this after computing this class representative, you need to apply the majority voting techniques. Okay, means how the majority voting techniques? Ki is equal to ki greater than kj. You have to apply the concept is called, that is the ki is k1, ki is greater than of kj. Now if you can see that k2 is greater than of k1, okay, and k2 is greater than is k3 is greater than of k1, and k3 is greater than of k2. So obviously this test point will be classified in class 3. ठीक है, based on the condition that k3 is greater than, k3 means how many number of class representative? 2. k3 is greater than of k1, and k3 is also greater than of k2. Okay, so ki means number of points. So here that I have denotes, ki denotes, ki means we could write number of points. Okay. So this is the things. Now the questions comes. How do you choose the value of k? How do you choose the value of k? First question. Second question is that here we are in the KNN, we strictly follow the Euclidean distance metric. Here you are applying some distance techniques, and these distance are strictly Euclidean distance. But what will be the scenario if you don't have this Euclidean distance, and if somebody will apply this non-Euclidean distance, then what will be the scenario? Okay. Now we'll address on these things. So we'll see. So before that, so these are this KNN. So it is very simple things that you have to follow these steps, that you will obviously get the answer. So here in the last step, we are doing the majority voting techniques that you are going to apply. So now next is that why KNN. So we do not need to know. So now this KNN is coming from. So what are the theory behind this k-nearest neighbor algorithm? What are the mathematical theory behind this k-nearest neighbor algorithm? So we are going to do
that is for hello.
We do not need to know the prior probability so while implementing this KNN, you do not require to know the prior probabilities and class conditional probability densities. And this rule is obtained from density estimation rule. This k-nearest rule, KNN is obtained from the density estimation rule, and it is called KNN density estimation procedure. We'll see what is KNN density estimation procedure, from where that you can find this k-nearest neighbor decisions rule. So now people will go for this KNN. Why? Because you do not require to have the prior probabilities, and also you do not require to have this class conditional probability densities. And this rule, this k-nearest neighbor rule, is obtained from the density estimation rule. So we have already seen the nearest neighbor density estimation rule that we have already seen, that from where we will establish it. There's a KNN density estimation procedure. What is the KNN density estimation procedure? Suppose you have in random variables, I'm going to write you have 1, x2, you have independent and identically distributed random variable, or you can have it is a vector. So you have the independent and identically distributed random variable x1, x2, and xn, and p. You have p, and you have p, where p is a density function, where p is unknown. You need to estimate the p. You need to estimate the p. Now, what are the procedure to be followed? Now, procedure is procedure. First step, let k be a positive integer. We need to get the density function we need to estimate the density function at x estimate the density function at x to Rm. Okay, we need to estimate the density function x to Rm. Find k nearest neighbor. Find k nearest neighbor of x. Find k nearest neighbor of x among x1, x2 till xn. Okay. Now you have to estimate it. So we have already done it in the previous few classes, but still we'll again do in a different way. Let R put distance, the distance between x and its ith nearest neighbor. Okay. Ith nearest neighbor. Now you have a volume. Okay, you have a volume, so that is we have a, by applying this formula kyn by a, okay, or kyn by v. So n an over r over m. Okay, let this denotes the volume of a disk radius r in dimensional space. Okay. So now this R is a function of n. So now R is a function of this n. So k is a function of m. That you can write n, or a r comma m also you can write, because this is a volume. So now this is a volume of a disk of radius r in d dimensional space. Okay. So now you have to compute this volume. So now you know the formula for this volume, like this means how do you compute these things, like mass by volume, okay, by using this formula. So now density means that you are having this is a mass by volume. So we are trying to establish this formula for this density, means this is a mass by volume. So means if you have n dimensional of d dimensional space, from the d dimensional that you are going to have a one disk with this m dimensional, and for each volume the radius that you are going to have, this is an r. So that's why that it is written. So you may write n, or you may not write it. If you write n, it means that out of this k is a function of n. It means that out of the n points that you are going to have the k points. Out of the n points that you are going to have the k points. So that is why this k is a function of n. Okay. So now you have already seen the formula, density is equal to k by n. It is in mass by volume, v. So now this is a v. So it is denoted by this a r comma a. Okay. So now fifth point is estimated density. Density at x. Estimated density at x denoted by p hat x. You have that is a okay. Estimated density is p hat x, which can be defined by क्या होगा formula? Can anyone tell me the what I should write? Anyone? What will be the estimated density at x denoted by p at x? What I should write? Anyone?
Sir, K divided by N into A.
Very good. It is K divided by N. It is a mass, or you can in the numerator term you can write K by N into this AN RN. Okay, provided. So now it means that out of the n points, so K is a function of n. You can write a subscript n, or you cannot write. Okay, but it means that out of the n points, so you are going to consider the k points. So these k points will construct this volume in this m dimensional space. Okay, with radius is r. That is the mean. So now the estimated density that we're going to have will be with some conditions on K. So what are the conditions of K that needs to be satisfied to compute this estimated density? So now K is a first condition. F first condition. Okay. So under some condition, this estimated density will be asymptotically unbiased and consistent estimate of P. So you have the actual P, okay, and you have to compute this P hat. So P hat will be called the asymptotically unbiased and consistent estimate. Okay, when on such conditions on K. So what are those conditions? So K is a function of N. We shall denote it by Kn. We shall denote it by Kn. P. Kn is tending to infinity. Kn tends to infinity as N tending to infinity. Okay, and Kn by N tending to zero as N tending to infinity. Okay. Now third. So if the condition on second are satisfied, and x and x and x is a continuity point of P, then P hat x is asymptotically ASY MP asymptotically unbiased and consistent estimate. Okay, so if the conditions are satisfied, the K is a function of N, so we shall denote it by K. if kn is tending to infinity as n tending to infinity and kn by n tending to 0, okay, if these things is 0. So now asymptotically unbiased, it means that if n is sufficiently large, okay, if n is sufficiently large value, okay, and then if this estimated value is equal to, if n is sufficiently large, then if the estimated value is equal to your actual value, then it is called the unbiased. And consistent means the difference between the estimated value and this actual value gets reduced. So that's what is called the consistency. Estimated minus actual, the difference between estimated and the actual is gets reduced. Or asymptotically unbiased estimate means this actual value is equal to the your estimated value. That we have already proved it. Okay, x bar is equal to mu. That we have already seen. Okay, so on this variance is given, then how do you estimate mean? And if the mu and variance are not given, then how do you estimate mean and variance? That we have already seen. Okay, from the maximum likelihood estimate. So it is called the asymptotically unbiased. So if these conditions are satisfied, then you could see this thing. So now, after computing these density functions estimated, then you can apply the Bayes decisions rule. After applying the density functions, then you can apply the Bayes decisions rule. Now, what is the Bayes decisions rule? Capital Pi small pi is greater than or equal to capital Pj small pj. Okay. While capital Pi, it means that you have this prior probability divided by proportion. You have these prior probabilities divided by proportions, and that you have this class conditional density function or the density functions that you have already estimated. Okay, that you are already have. Okay, then if we just apply it, then we can establish it. Now we are going to solve it. We are going to establish it that ki greater than is equal to kj. That you are going to do it. How do you do it? Now p hat x is equal to, you can write, you will apply the Bayes decisions rule. Okay. Now from the Bayes rule you could establish this k nearest neighborhood. Now p hat x is equal to k by n ar. So we are not writing it. So this is equal to p hat x. Okay. So now pi hat x. Now this, if you have this ith observations, okay, out of the n observation, that ith means observations, you need to compute this px. So it is an actual that we are going to have. Now if you consider this for the ith observations, now how you are going to do? So these things you have already computed. Now pi hat x. So I need to write I need to write I. No, it is not like that. Yes. Pi hat. Then I'll write okay. Pi hat x is equal to ki by ni air. Okay. We have Ki by Ni into, sorry, it should be R. Okay. R means radius. Huh? So now apply capital Pi. Capital Pi is a prior probability. Capital Pi. Now we are applying the base decision rules. Capital Pi, small pix is greater than is equal to capital Pj. Capital Pj for all j is not is equal to for all j is not is equal to I. So now what will be the value of capital Pi? Can anyone tell me?
Ni by N.
Ni by N. Very, very good. It is called this just a proportion of these values. Okay. You will have Ni by N multiplied by now capital P I hat x. What I should write? These things. Okay. Greater than is equal to Ni by N into Kj in j into so all these things are constant. Okay, Ni by N and Ni here, then you can just cancel out. Then you will establish this Ki is greater than is equal to Ki is greater than is equal to Kj. Now the questions comes. If you use the equality sign, then what difficulty you are going to have? Now this KNN is derived from this base decision rule. Okay, now if I write Ki is greater than is equal to Kj, then what type of difficulties are you going to face? Can anyone tell me? Huh? Anyone?
So can you repeat the question?
If I write ki is greater than is equal to kj for all I is not is equal to j, then how we are going to classify the test point?
Class I.
Now, what are the meaning of ki is greater than is equal to kj? Just tell me.
That means in our enclosed volume, number of points belonging to class I is greater than all the number of points belonging to class J, where I not equal to J.
Now you forget about greater than part. If you have this ki is equal to kj, it means if I simply write ki greater than kj, so I don't have any problem to classify the test point in one of the classes. But if I am putting the equal to sign, it means this number of class representative.
If it
in
is k is
class
even
I,
only, then it is possible.
is equal to the person, then how do you take a decision? Okay, so now it is possible when you could choose that value of k is even.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
If you choose it, this problem encounters when you choose the value of k is even. If you choose k is equal to 2, k is equal to 4, k is equal to 6, k is equal to 8. So in order to eliminate the tie, or in order to avoid the ties, then people are used to have this odd number of or odd value of k. Okay, so that is the reason we usually drop the equal to sign, because otherwise you will have some difficulty to take a decision. Then suppose if you see this figure, ahead, instead of taking k is equal to 3, I could have taken k is equal to 4. Then one more points either from these, these things that you will have. Then how you are going to take the decision? It will be a problem. Then you'll have to do in a arbitrary decisions. So these test points will belong either in class 1 or either in class 2. Both the answers are correct. Okay, so that is why we are going to have that your ki is greater than ki is strictly greater than kj. Now next point comes. How do you choose the value of k? How do you choose the value of k? If k is not given to you, then what will be this optimal value of k? So one way to choose. So there are different methods to choosing the value of k. One method is called the cross validation. Cross validation method is one of the ways to choose the value of k. Have you ever heard the name cross validation method? This is a very important thing. Is cross validation method. We are applying this leave one out method techniques. Leave one out method techniques. So I'll be discussing in the next class this cross validation method along with this logistic regression. Okay. So now these are the PPT that I did not. It was I do not have time to show you because that things is required. So you can have just quickly go through it. We have the distance metric to compute this distance. Now you have to also test in your lab. So if you do not use the Euclidean distance technique, if you use some other, apply non-Euclidean method, then what will be the scenario? Okay. Now compute the distance to other training patterns. Identify k-nearest neighbor. First first a nearest neighbor, then the class level nearest neighbor to determine level unknown pattern by taking the majority vote that we already seen. So now you have used the Euclidean distance, okay, or you can see for the other distance also. Now they determine the class from the nearest neighbor list, take the majority vote, okay, or if you have some weighted factor also, you can have W is equal to 1 by D square. So the if you k is equal to 1, then belongs to the square class. Belonging k is equal to 3, k is equal to 7, okay, in this way. So choose the value. Now if you choose this k is too small, then it is sensitive to noise point, and if k is too large, then the neighborhood may include many points from other classes. Now choose an odd values of k to eliminate ties. That I already explained. And you'll have to choose choose the value of k in such a way that it should not be too small and it should not be large.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you said that we choose the value of k as odd, so that there would be no conflicts, like there would be
No
no
ties.
confusion in decision.
Ah, ah.
But sir, that would work only if there are only two classes. If there are more than two classes, then it may also happen that even if we choose an odd k, but then also there can be two classes which have equal number of points.
No. If you have this more than classes, if you choose the k is equal to 8, so it may so happen if you have in these 3-4 classes. So it may so happen out of the 4 classes, okay, that 2 points, 2 representative from class 1, then again 2 representative from class 2, okay, then
Yes, sir.
again 3 representative from class 2, class 3, then again equal number of representative of class 3. Then how do you going to take the decision?
Sir, but even if we choose 7, k equals to 7, and we have 3 representative from class 1, 3 from class 2, and 1 from class 3, then also there would be a conflict, right?
Yes,
So, sir, actually the k should be more than the number of classes, no?
exactly. इसलिए that we have chosen that C must be greater than or equal to 2.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Otherwise, you will get this sequence number of things. If you have to one nearest neighbor.
Yes,
But the
yes.
conflict may come. But the conflict may come when if k is odd.
ठीक है.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Conflict may come na then if k is equals to odd also, no?
No. I mean, here we are not talking about any confliction. Here, this talking about these ties. Okay. Confliction means that there is the same number of points belong to these 2 different classes. So this is called the conflictions. But ties means that you are in a positions to take a decisions, that whether the points belongs to this means either in class 1 or class 2, because same number of representatives are there. So this is called the ties. Confliction and ties are different terms. If you have this, so oftenly we will have this k is equal to 3. So k is equal to 3 if you have the odd number of things now. So there may be a very few chance that you will have these ties. I mean, if you have these ties also, so you can take also kind of decision. Because you'll have to check for this k3 greater than k2, or I mean you have to check for each a pairwise class comparison that you need it to have. So whenever you have more than 2 classes, then you need to have the pairwise comparison. Now whenever you are doing the pairwise comparison, then obviously this ties is going to be reduced. Okay, so that's the things. So the pairwise comparison is very important. If you have the 3 or 4 classes, for each class representative will be compared to each of the classes. K1 is greater than K2, K1 is greater than K3, K1 is greater than K4, K1 is greater than K5. Okay, so you'll have to test in this way, because more than 2 class means pairwise comparison will come up. If you have 2 class, binary class, so there is no problem. If you have more than 2 class, then the pairwise comparison. Okay, it actually it depends on the problem under consideration, or the problem at your hand. So I'm not telling you for all the cases you will encounter this kind of problems. So it depends. But whenever you are going to have this kind of problems, then you need to look at it. You should not choose this k is too small. If you choose too small, then these some noisy points will also include, that will be considered as a data point. And if your k is very large, then the neighborhood point also be considered for the other class. So that's the things. So you have to do some optimization things. Now I'll be sharing these things, PPT, some advantage and disadvantages there. Anyway, so it's a very interesting topic for the KNN. In the most of the research work, people are using these things. This concept are being used for this. People are using it with these techniques. This KNN is a very good classifier, but although it is called a lazy learner, so this KNN is a lazy learner classifier. Okay, why it is so, then I'll explain in next class, because it's already 9:11:10. Okay, so we'll meet on Monday. Okay, we'll meet on Monday. Then the assignment also I'll give it to you, because you have the list of assignment that you need to, because next class we'll have to implement face recognition problem using PCA, face recognition problem using LDA. Then this KNN will come up. Okay.
When to submit the assignment, sir?
You have to submit the assignment by, before the next lab starts. Yesterday assignment, there is a PCA on the satellite images. Okay, I also asked Joyita to just give it to the deadline of for this assignment.
Sir, are you talking about the lab assignments?
Oh yeah. Because I'm talking about this lab.
So sir, you have given one on multiple regression, and just for one you have given, and for a PCA, you're told that it will be completed next week.
PCA, if some students has done PCA in the previous class, then on the satellite images. So actually this PCA implementation of PCA on satellite image is just a practice to accustom with the PCA. But the major thing that this PCA that you'll have to do with the distance-based techniques on the face recognition problem. So that I'll explain to you in the next class. First, I need to explain to you how to do it. Okay. Then only you'll have to start with this face recognition problem. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. It's a very interesting problem. Okay. Okay, see you on Monday. Thank you. I'll share the PPT and this class note now. Okay. Thank you.